For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like the G3 Sportsman, featuring sturdy construction and superior features. These perfect fishing boats were designed with wide deck space, plenty of storage, and a smart layout. And they also deliver more fun per gallon than anything else on the water. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.
You are watching the Sports Source Kickoff with John Pennington, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Good game day morning to you. We're only about an hour and a half away from Tennessee's kickoff with UMass today here on the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine. We'll be talking Tennessee football over the next 30 minutes. This first segment, let's dive right in, brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Deck boats, pontoon boats, and fishing boats. New boats and used boats, all with warranties, all available for you to compare in one location. Highway 411 North in Madisonville is boating heaven, folks. Value and customer service. That's why there's no better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine. No better panel I could have to debate things today than the guys I've got right here. We got Jimmy Himes. We have VFL LaMarcus Thompson. Mike Griffith, VFL Daniel Hood. I'm wondering if we've seated everybody in the, is there a homer section and a hater section? But anyway, it's going to be interesting. I want to talk about personnel a little later, the guys you should see, why you haven't been seeing some other guys. That'll come up. We'll also talk about the quarterback situation. Talk about what you can expect from Tennessee. Are they going to be ready to play this game after a heartbreaking loss and a bad week in terms of just media, fans, everybody jumping on them? But let's start with the heat on Butch Jones this week. Fair or not, the temperature of Butch Jones' seat this week, Jimmy?
I think it's fair that he caught heat. The degree of the heat can be argued because some of the people I think have been unreasonable about some of the fire him and all this stuff that they've been talking about. So I think that's unreasonable. But, yeah, I think they should take some heat. Tennessee, I thought, should have won the ball game. I thought with Florida down 9 players suspended and without a starting linebacker, I thought Tennessee made some coaching errors in that game. So, I think he could and should have taken some heat.
All right. LaMarcus?
And his assistant, and some assistants, too.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. I agree with Jimmy. He should have took some heat for a loss that, for that close. He shouldn't have lost that game. Tennessee definitely had the better team. The biggest thing that I find that he shouldn't have to, deal with some of the, outbursts
Outrage,
by some of the fans. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff on Twitter is a little harsh. I don't think that he should be ridiculed that much, but I think that he should take a little heat for that loss.
All right, too much heat this week, gentlemen? Daniel Hood, Mike Griffith?
I don't think he took too much heat. I mean, you lose to Florida or you lose to Alabama. I mean, in Knoxville, Tennessee, you're going to take a lot of heat. I mean, these are the games that matter the most to the fans. And, the Florida suspensions are overblown. They were missing 3 starters. Tennessee was missing 5 starters. Throw that out the window. They lost the game because they turned the ball over 3 times. They missed 3 field goals, and they came up empty twice in the red zone. That's coaching, and that's execution. So, yeah, I think the coaches deserve heat this week.
Daniel Hood.
I got to say that I agree that critique and heat is always merited in situations like this when you lose to Florida in the swamp, when you've got players making great play. But I think the degree of it, like Jimmy was saying, is just almost a little ridiculous and a little crazy at this point. When you look at how Team 121 played, you don't get plays like punching the fumble out of the back of the end zone, where the guy pulling the fumble out as he's falling down. Show me those plays under the Derek Dooley era. You won't see them. Show them to me under the Lane Kiffin or the last few years of Fulmer. All that is coaching. How do you practice those things? And so that's why I say the degree is wrong.
Okay. I think that he has been treated unfairly since the day he got here by a group of fans, a select group of fans. They didn't want him, and they've bad-mouthed him ever since he got here. These same fans will bad-mouth whoever comes in here next, whenever that is, from the day he's hired until the day he leaves. That's just what they do. They enjoy it. I think that stuff is unfair. I thought the stuff this week, look, it's year 5. And if you go down there and lose to Florida and it's a tight game and you play well, I understand that. You didn't play well until the 4th quarter. Your defense played okay. Defense played better. But offensively, you didn't play well. It's year 5. You've recruited 2 kickers. They can't hit field goals to save their lives. They squib kicked 1 out of bounds. It's just I understand how fans are looking at this saying, and how is this different from last year and the year before? At this point, when you're losing those tight games. Let me show you some numbers here. First of all, I put up a Twitter poll this week, if we've got it. There we go. Impact of the Florida loss. All right. Now, my viewers and folks that watch us, they're typically pretty rational. So I was a little surprised by the response here. How did the Florida loss impact your view of Butch Jones? About 5% said no change, I'm still all in. 16% said shaken, but I'm still in. 39%, I'm having serious doubts. 40%, last straw, I'm out. So you got 80% of my viewers saying that?
Wow.
I mean, that's not good. Let me look at something else here in terms of close games. And I think this is what frustrates people. Over the last 5 years, and some of these guys haven't been here in the SEC for 5 years. Guys like Will Muschamp, I went back and looked at his, within a 5-year span, the 2 years he was at Florida and the 2 years he's been at South Carolina. Here they are in close games, all right? Games decided by 0 to 7 points. You got the winning percentage, and then you got the overtime games out there as well. But 0 to 7 points, Jim McElwain. You want to talk about why he's going to the East 2 years in a row and maybe a third? He's 7-1 in these kind of ball games. Gus Malzahn, 12-5 in close games. Kirby Smart, 5-3. Nick Saban, 7-5. But the trick there is, over the last 5 years, he's 47-1 in games decided by more than 7. So you rarely get him in a close game. Stoops, Mullen. Let's go to the next one. Derek Mason is 7-7. Will Muschamp 6-7. Butch Jones 6-8. Then you got Kevin Sumlin, who's 6-10. Barry Odom at Missouri 1-2. 3-8 for Brett Bielema, the guy that everybody thought what a brilliant hire that was. But you look at that 6-8 in close games. I think that's what frustrates people, because they look at it and say, why aren't you winning with coaching? At that point, when it's down to the wire, you're toward the bottom of the SEC in terms of your winning percentage.
Well, and it's the way they lose. The bomb against Florida. Even the year before, when Tennessee beat Georgia on a Hail Mary, Tennessee gave up a 47-yard touchdown pass with 10 seconds left. And Juwan Jennings bailed you out. Mm-hmm. So you've had some situations where I thought with some better coaching, Tennessee could have won more games than they have.
Conversely, I'd say coaching won the first game against Georgia Tech. I mean, here's a game where Georgia Tech really outplayed Tennessee if you look at the total yardage. Yet in the fourth quarter, it's the Tennessee offense that found all the plays, dialed up all the plays, and the Tennessee defense that made a terrific play to save the game. So you play good opponents, and all things being equal, I think this is a young team. I think they look like a young team, and I think they got beat because of that inexperience, and the coaches probably made it a little too challenging. I think they needed to dumb down the playbook a little bit.
Well, I'll disagree on the defense against Georgia Tech. They were awful.
Yeah, until the last play when it mattered and they made a stop from the 3. I agree.
500 rushing yards.
I agree, but they made a stop at the end when it mattered. LaMarcus, you play the game. Does that matter?
Well, it comes down to execution. Point blank period. Like you're saying, they look decent for Georgia Tech. Coaching wise, they executed. Now the coaches look all right. You go to Florida, they don't execute
on the last play.
Well, and the offense really clicked it in the second half, because I think they scored on 5 of the last 6 possessions. They scored touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I thought the offense really did a nice job turning it around the second half.
Now, I'll say with Georgia Tech, my thought on that game was, on the offensive side, I loved what Larry Scott did in the beginning, because Tennessee comes out, throws it 20 times in the first half. Hadn't really done that much throwing in the first half in years. So you say, why in the world were they doing that? And it was to prep Normandy for that second half to get back, to get ready to throw. Defense, you lose your linebacker going into it. It's an execution. Yeah, it's triple option. But the thing I think a lot of people forget is, you brought in a new defensive line coach. You brought in a new secondary coach. You're going into your second level of football, or what we always call level 2 football in that half. That's going to cause some coaching change. How does your defensive line coach communicate with your secondary and everything?
I don't want to get bogged down in a UMass preview show talking about Georgia Tech. If we're going to talk about an old game, let's at least talk about Florida. I think, I understand, not the rage, not the ugly stuff they say to him, but I understand fans being disappointed. They have brought in new coaches, and they're looking at it. They tune in for the last minute, on a Saturday afternoon. They want to enjoy it. And what they see is, this looks just like last year. I thought you brought in a bunch of new coaches. Why is your secondary still playing 10 yards off the ball? Why are you just like last year? Why are you still giving up a last-second deep ball when that's the only thing that can beat you, and you give it up? So I get the fans feeling a little upset, but we'll talk more in the second segment. Again, we will talk a little UMass. Look, if it's Indiana State, we're not going to talk Indiana State. If it's UMass, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking UMass. We're going to talk state of the program, and next we're going to talk about personnel use. Who have they used? Who haven't they used? Why haven't they been using them? Should they be using them? All that next on a fired up edition of the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine.
From games to weddings to parties, and from executive travel to a night on the town, Chariots of Hire is the simplest, most cost-effective, safest way to turn an event into a lasting memory. Their dozens of vehicles allow you to select the perfect ride for your need, and their superior service guarantees you'll arrive in style. More options, more drivers, more experience. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Chariots of Hire.
For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like G3 John boats, built Gator tough. G3 Johns include all the features you could want from a workhorse boat. Massive live well capacity, lockable storage, even a midship fuel tank that allows for smoother running. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Come experience the Lexus life at Lexus of Knoxville, a level of service and satisfaction that goes above and beyond the everyday. We're a consecutive 5-time Elite of Lexus Award winner and rated 4.7 out of 5 stars for customer satisfaction according to Google. Lexus of Knoxville offers a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on all new and select pre-owned vehicles with unlimited miles. Enjoy express service, extended service hours with courtesy vehicles, and much more. Come experience the Lexus life at lexusofknoxville.com.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Bill Hodson Associates, the car wreck attorneys, have helped thousands of people all over Knoxville and East Tennessee.
From downtown to the duck pond, Broadway has about 30 traffic lights. In our 30 years, we've helped people hurt at most of these intersections, and we're ready to help you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hodson Associates.
When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
And welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine. This segment brought to you by Chariots of Hire. If you've got an anniversary dinner coming up, make it an anniversary to remember. Going to a concert sometime soon? Make it a concert you'll remember. When you want to make a night on the town special, visit chariotsofhire.com. First-class transportation while you simply sit back and enjoy. I'm telling you, I was out there this week looking at their entire fleet of sedans, SUVs. They've got everything up to motor coaches. Chariotsofhire.com. Next time you're planning a big night out on the town, wanting to impress somebody, give them a call. They do great work. Chariots of Hire. All right. We've got the offensive depth chart there. If you can move up to your television screens and read that, that's straight off UT's off their website this week. That's what they've released. I want to quickly discuss a couple of issues. At left guard, are we going to see more Boulware this week after a bad game from Jack Jones this past week?
I think you have to. When you look at the film this week, I mean, it was constant. There was missed blocks. He wasn't doing the right thing on your double teams when you're trying to double team a defensive end up to the linebackers. You could see a lot of issues coming out of him. And I think if you're Tennessee, and I think that goes back to coaching. If you want to critique a coach, I think that's number one. You go back to if you see a guy not playing well in the game, just like Dobbs last year at South Carolina, sometimes it's better to put that second guy in and take a chance.
Jones had a couple of false start penalties last week as well. Not a great day.
Correct.
All right, Tyler Bird you saw there, still listed as a receiver, though you rarely see him on the field. What's the situation with Tyler Bird? And if he's not going to play there, do you want to move him somewhere where he could play?
John, we've had a number of callers on our sports talk show, which you were an integral part with our pigskin panel on Friday. But we've had callers about that, and I have defended having him on offense because I thought Tennessee had more depth just numbers-wise in the secondary versus receivers. But if you're not going to use him at receiver, then move him to cornerback. What's one of the weakest positions you have on defense? In my opinion, it's cornerback. And I think Bird has all the skills to be a really good cornerback. So if you're going to underutilize him on offense, put him on defense and let him play cornerback.
Any disagreements with that?
I do, just because just because you're bad at one doesn't mean you're good at other. Well, Marcus and I testify. We've played with some guys that are the most athletic people that you've ever seen, But you can't find a position for him. He couldn't play receiver, safety, corner, whatever. So just because he's failing at receiver doesn't mean that he's got the skills for corner.
He does have the skill. He was a great cornerback in high school. He was. A lot of people recruited him only as a cornerback, not a receiver.
And I'm surprised he played more as receiver last year than he is this year. You've lost Josh Malone and Juwan Jennings, and he's playing less than he did a year ago. So anyway, we'll talk about quarterbacks in the next segment. But John Kelly, guys, I mean, surely they're not going to give him 20 carries against UMass. Surely. Everybody agree don't use him against UMass to that extent?
Hope not.
Catholic guy down there, yeah. Thoughts on Kelly? I mean, you don't use him like you did against Indiana State.
Well,
do you?
more importantly, use the other guy. It's not about using John Kelly. This is your final tune-up game. The final score of this game doesn't matter. I know there's people that bet and all that, but it really doesn't matter how many points you win by. This game is incredibly important because you've got to find some answers, and you've got to play a lot of young guys, and you've got to have guys ready if more injuries occur. If there's one thing that's hurt Tennessee more than anything, schemes, coaches, all that stuff, it's been the injuries. That's what it comes down to. I don't know the cure, so don't ask me. But the bottom line is you better get some young guys prepared. They better get some snaps. Last year you couldn't do it because every game went down to the last second.
But here's the thing. It is about Kelly's carries, too. You didn't take him out until late against Indiana State. You kept running him. Then last week at Florida, it was 90 degrees and humid. I get it. But he was constantly coming back out of that game, and he's your best weapon. He's not on the field.
I think we all agree that running backs have only so many carries in them, right? Yeah. And so I do think you need to limit his carries because if you win this game, and you should, play him a lot of snaps against Florida. Play him a lot against Georgia and Alabama. But when you have a chance to rest him some and to save his body, I think you do.
Exactly. Okay, now let's take a look at the defensive depth chart if we've got that graphic. I'm not going to let everybody sit here and have time to read it, but we'll talk under it for a second. More rotation on the D-line. They've been talking about this for a while. They didn't do it against Indiana State. You should have an opportunity against UMass. LaMarcus, do you expect more rotation on the defensive line this week?
Definitely expect the rotation, simply because you're going to have to get some guys in the game that can play. We're going to have to get the younger players with, of course, some repetitions and also the talent to see where they're at. It's a fine-tuned game, basically. I'm going to call it as that. It is a fine-tuned game, simply because you don't have the repetitions that at the bigger games on the Floridas, the Georgias, things of that nature for those younger guys. So those guys are going to have to get in the game, get that fine tuning, and also you might find a player that you haven't been looking at in practice that shows up in the game, and he's like, hey, this guy's all world. Let's put him in.
Speaking of that, let's talk linebackers, where Daniel Batuli was third string, and then you had injuries, and he moves up against Georgia Tech, records 23 tackles. He starts the next two games, but Jumper plays most of the time. Mike Griffith, Corte Sapp was another guy who came in and played really well last week. Your linebacker situation, I think most of us look at Batuli and say, now that guy's the best athlete you got out there. Jumper probably knows the defense a little better. Where are you on that decision? Talent versus knowing the system. Where is this coaching staff at this point?
Well, and don't forget, you got to bring in Rashawn Golden, because if you're going to play a 4-3, you're not going to have your nickel back on the field. And I'd argue that number 7 is your best defensive player overall right now. He's your biggest and best playmaker. So when you're in that 4-2-5, you've got Rashawn Golden out there. I think that's important. Daniel Batuli is the best athlete. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He did incredible things at Nashville Christian. He learned last year. Here's the thing, though. Colton Jumper is the guy that can make all the adjustments and all the calls, and he's the experienced guy. And before you say that doesn't matter, it does, because there was a missed alignment early in the game with Batuli. He got yanked out of there. If you don't line up right, I don't care if you're Superman, you're not going to make the play. So until Daniel can make the proper calls, you got to have Jumper out there. And if you're going to play Batuli in a 4-3 alignment, you're not going to have your nickel back out there.
Well,
that's the
you're
issue.
not going to see a lot of 4-3, I don't think, out of this team.
So I think you're going to see Batuli in different stages.
Let's talk about the secondary. You've now got depth issues at safety with Todd Kelly Jr. out, but what I want to talk about is cornerback. We mentioned it earlier. Shaq Wiggins can't get on the field. We talked about it before the show. Shaq Wiggins came down here. He'd been an all-conference player in the ACC when he was at Louisville. Transfers in for his last year. Can't get on the field. Has acted poorly on the sidelines for 2 straight games because he's not getting in. Do they play Shaq Wiggins? They're saying they will, but they've said that before, Jimmy.
Well, they did last week. Charlton Warren, the secondary coach, said he's going to play, and he's going to play a lot, and he's finally healthy. He did have an ankle injury that slowed him during his August camp. But the thing that's puzzling is that he was like a free agent on the market, and I guess South Carolina, Mississippi State were in there as well. But I remember Bob Shoop saying it's like getting a high draft pick. When you get him, I don't know if he's just not that good. I know that run support has been an issue with him, but you would think he'd be able to get on the field and play a lot, given as much as the way Tennessee courted him.
Right, and the way that the cornerbacks have played. They're giving a ton
yeah.
of, UT is still giving up a ton of cushion out there, but you haven't had a pass deflected by Martin or Mosley this season. Thoughts on Shaq Wiggins very quickly?
Well, first of all, the only pass that was completed over 10 yards in the air in the Florida game was the last one. So I thought the secondary played a pretty good game. But we're assuming that Shaq Wiggins has come in and been on his best behavior and been everything that he was 2 years ago the last time he played. Remember, he didn't play football last year. So I don't know what kind of football shape he was in when he was reported. I know this. He looks kind of small to me.
Was it high draft pick? Isn't that what Bob Tripp said?
That's what he said.
The thing I'll say about it is I don't know his skills that in depth as a corner, but I do know what Coach Jones' standard is on how you're going to play as a backside corner. You know, a lot of the plays that we see them punching out the ball against Texas A&M this week against Florida, that's usually your backside corner. If you don't meet the standard and you're not doing those things, you're not playing with effort, Coach Jones isn't putting you on the field, period.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about this UMass game a little bit. What will you see from the quarterback? Will Tennessee be prepared to play this one? UMass, now we're talking about the secondary. Andrew Ford, their quarterback, he can throw it all over the lot. He's top 20 passer in the country right now at 300 yards a game. He hasn't played against an SEC defense yet, but we'll discuss that. Come on back.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
For more than 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, and the biggest selection of boats in the area. Boats like Suncatcher pontoons, ultra luxurious, sophisticated, and stylish. You won't find a more family-friendly pontoon boat. All with cutting-edge technology designed to enhance the quality of your time on the water. See for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Bill Hodson Associates, the car wreck attorneys, have helped thousands of people all over Knoxville and East Tennessee.
Two of America's busiest interstate highways intersect in Knoxville. Interstate speed keeps traffic moving, but it can also result in terrible wrecks. We've helped a lot of people hurt in these wrecks, and we're ready to help you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hodson Associates.
Come experience the Lexus life at Lexus of Knoxville, a level of service and satisfaction that goes above and beyond the everyday. We're a consecutive 5-time Elite of Lexus Award winner and rated 4.7 out of 5 stars for customer satisfaction according to Google. Lexus of Knoxville offers a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on all new and select pre-owned vehicles with unlimited miles. Enjoy express service, extended service hours with courtesy vehicles, and much more. Come experience the Lexus life at lexusofknoxville.com.
From games to weddings to parties, and from executive travel to a night on the town, Chariots of Hire is the simplest, most cost-effective, safest way to turn an event into a lasting memory. Their dozens of vehicles allow you to select the perfect ride for your need, and their superior service guarantees you'll arrive in style. More options, more drivers, more experience. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Chariots of Hire.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment brought to you by Lexus of Knoxville, where you will always find great deals on the finest cars money can buy, like the 2017 RC Turbo, just $299 a month for 36 months. There it is, $28.99 do it signing. Plus, it's their fall collection sales event going on right now through October 31st. Lexus of Knoxville, that is a beautiful car. I think I'll head to Lexus of Knoxville when we get off the air here.
I'll go with you.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Also, I want to tell you that tomorrow, Sunday morning, 11 a.m., WATE, it will be Chuck Cavaleris, Sterling Hinton, Bob Hodge, Daniel Hood, Jimmy Himes, Will Overstreet, Mike Strange, Lamarcus Thompson, and myself. Talking UMass, but talking a lot more Georgia is the plan. Unless something goes horribly wrong, tomorrow's show will be a lot more about Georgia than UMass. Okay. Earlier this week, I pointed out on Twitter that Tennessee's 54% pass completion percentage through a quarter of the season now is its lowest completion percentage since 2008, the year that Philip Fulmer was fired, when the quarterbacks completed just 49% of their passes. Mike and Jimmy, I tell you what, I'll start with Mike, I'll finish with Jimmy. Quickly, what do you expect from the quarter? How are they going to use the quarterbacks today?
Well, I think you got to give Quentin Dormady enough snaps and work with his young receivers. I mean, these game repetitions are invaluable. You can't replicate it in practice, so you better make sure you get Dormady as much work as you possibly can to get him familiar with these receivers, some of whom he just met a few months ago. Yes, you want to work Jarrett Garantano, but if you've made the decision that Dormady's your guy, you got to give him enough repetitions for him to build on, build a better chemistry, and build some timing, because that was a big part of the problem with two of those interceptions, a route that was run too short and an option route that was misread between the quarterback and the receiver. Those were two of the 3 picks.
Jimmy.
Another concern with Dormady is that he's had 10 drops, so that's hurt him some. The other part that's hurt him too, I think he throws off his back foot too much, and Larry Scott, the offensive coordinator, talked about trying to get him out of that. Some of that has been fundamental, some of that has been pass rush. But he needs to improve in that. And the thing I'm starting to see with him at quarterback, it's almost like the offense that I saw with Tennessee with Justin Worley, with their zone read, where the quarterback's not keeping it much, and it's like run up the middle, run up the middle. You're taking away some of the unpredictability of that offense, I think. But as far as today, I think Garantano will get some action. I'll be curious to see how much he keeps the ball in the zone read.
Okay. LaMarcus and Daniel, you guys played. This UMass team, they are 10-54 since going to the FBS division in 2012. They're 0-4 this year. They were 2-10 last year. But last year, they played Florida into the 4th quarter. They gave Mississippi State and South Carolina good games late. They can throw the ball well. Tennessee, heartbreaking loss last play of the game to a rival. Fans and media have been up in arms all week. It's a noon kickoff against a team that 10-54 over the last 64 games. Are you getting up for this game? What do you expect from Tennessee? Do you expect them to come out and be sharp, or do you think this is going to be a sloppy, ugly game?
To be honest with you, I definitely think they come out sharp, simply because Tennessee is going to have a 100% a chip on their shoulder for losing that Florida game. It's going to be a lot of guys that are very, very highly pissed off because they took a loss that they should not have taken. And coaches are going to have them 100% prepared to play simply because of that loss last week. We're going to be a lot focused on, of course, fundamentals. That's what's going to be harped all week in practice, is 100% fundamental football. And basically, I think Tennessee comes out on top, and they're going to look sharp this week.
Daniel, you agree? I saw you nod.
Yeah, I think Marcus hit the nail on the head. You know, someone's got to pay for how much pain we felt for this past week. And it's, you put the chip on the shoulder, everybody's hounding on your coach and everything else. And as a player, you know, it comes down to us. You know, if I'm Kongbo, that's on me, that last play of the game. And what's the best way to make up for that? Go out and punish UMass today, because I don't see UMass coming in and throwing the football around and everything else. I'm going to get the rush to pass. Let's see what I got.
Okay, let me get the media guys' take, because we heard the players. They're going to come out and be sharp. I fear they won't. From the outside looking in, I think it looks like those noon games are always funky anyway. And after the week you've had, this will be a good mark of where the chemistry is on this team. If they come out sharp, I'll be impressed. But
I'll be surprised if they do, actually. And I think back to this. Texas A&M lost to UCLA after leading 44-10. What happened in their next game against Nicholls State? They were tied in the 4th quarter. It's very difficult, I think, to get back up. Does somebody need to pay? You hope that. But I just think it's hard for somebody to lose a game like that and come out the next day against an underwhelming opponent and be sharp. I'll be surprised.
30 seconds, Dan.
I would just say, I just think back to last year I was there. You know, we had that heartbreaking loss against Georgia where Pig made an effort play and ends up finding out of the end zone. Ended up beating, I think, South Carolina was number 11th ranked team.
But easier to get up for a number 11 ranked team versus UMass.
It was still a noon game, and it was South Carolina, but it's still a game that really shouldn't have been it.
Mike, do you think they're going to come out sharp or not? And you got 20 seconds.
I don't know if this team's capable of playing sharp. There's too many new moving pieces. It's a young team. It's a work in progress, John. I don't think we'll see this team really look sharp until November.
Which is,
wow, that might be too late.
Maybe.
Well, that's, I don't know if the fans are going to be that patient to wait to see this team
they're
clicking.
going to win till then. I just don't think you're going to see the offense clicking.
Daniel Hood, Mike Griffith, LaMarcus Thompson, Jimmy Himes, thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate all of our sponsors, Madisonville Marine, of course. And want to remind you again, we are here every single Saturday game day. Next week for Georgia, we're going to talk a lot more about the Georgia game, I promise you. Thanks for joining us every week. And don't forget to flip over tomorrow at 11 a.m. and catch us on WATE 6. We're in year 15 of the Sports Source. We'll break down UMass and talk about Georgia with a team of 45 guys on set. We'll have fun then. See you then.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.